I thought this morning I would do a little review and talk about an evaluation of an evolution, an insight that took John Groff way beyond the mundane and into the miraculous that is available to us when we think about all the ramifications of celebrating this thing that we call Christmas, this experience that we call New Year's. And his awareness began with a teaching from Kalu Rinpoche. It goes like this. There is a reality, big R, reality, but you do not know this. You are that reality. And when you awaken to that reality, you will see that you are nothing. And being nothing, you are everything. It's one of the ultimate conundrums of the spiritual life. Ram Dass calls it being nobody special. He says we're all in being nobody special training. And there's an incredible ease. Just try it on for a moment. The ease that would come when you're moving through this existence without any need to be anything special. Just to be what you are in the moment, free of any apology for it, just being there. Nobody special. You are that ultimate reality. So the good John Groff took this idea from Kalu Rinpoche, and he sat with it for a while, and he came up with the idea of this Christmas season that we've just been through, this whole season of celebration, introspection, worshiping the spiritual dimensions of our existence more than we typically do. And he came up with a metaphor for Christmas. And he called that metaphor for Christmas a television set. Christmas as a television set. So you've got the realities of Channel 1. And what's that about? On Channel 1, the reality of Christmas is acquiring, collecting, getting stuff, getting it all, getting it now, right now. On Channel 1, the image is of things. On Channel 1, Christmas is the time of high anxiety. And it starts at about the time we are old enough to understand generally by our second Christmas. Have I been good enough to get presents? I remember that quite well. I was truly committed. You better watch out. You better not pout. You better whine. I'm telling you why. Oh my God, he's coming again. Have I been good enough to get presents? A lot of presents. Will Santa remember where I live? And by the time we've grown a bit older, the anxiety remains pretty much the same, except it has become a bit more sophisticated. I wish I knew how much the bonus was going to be this year. CNN says IBM is laying off executives. I wonder how safe my job is during these times. How much is left on the credit line? Can I still afford the iPod I want so bad? This is also the channel of the to the death competition for the choice spaces in shopping mall parking lots. Did any of you play that game this year? Circling, almost 3 hours circling around just for the right close one. And the blood sport at the discount tables in retail stores. On Channel 1, Christmas used to start on the day after Thanksgiving. Now it begins on the day after Halloween. On Channel 1, the music of Christmas is Jingle Bells, even though there's nothing in Jingle Bells about Christmas. The music of Christmas is Christmas Tree Rock and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and we can spend a very long time on Channel 1, you and I, many years. In fact, even numbers of lifetimes. But one day we become aware of just kind of how shallow all of that is, how empty. And we begin to wonder if there isn't something more about this celebration that we might be missing. And as soon as we ask ourselves that question, even once, we've changed, we've reached for that remote, And we've changed the selector to channel 2. Up-level the game. And on channel 2, the reality of Christmas is the church, it's religion. On channel 2, the image of Christmas is a motel with a no vacancy sign blinking on and off. It's a vision of a pregnant virgin giving birth to a very special child in a manger. On channel 2, we learned about giving instead of receiving. And the music becomes O Little Town of Bethlehem and Silent Night and O Come All Ye Faithful. And if we belong to a really liturgically sophisticated congregation, you might have a little Gregorian chant or Anglican plain song thrown in there for good measure. But one Christmas Eve, while you are complacently hanging out on channel 2, feeling good about yourselves, someone suggests to you that you join the child's parents and the animals in adoring him. And that you do this by kneeling before him and looking very deeply into his eyes. Look into the babe's eyes, you are told. Quiet your heart. Look very deeply and you will see the image of the reality of God. And so you do this. But all you see is a reflection of your own face looking back at you and missing the truth hidden in the paradox. You begin to wonder. We can spend a very long time on channel 2, you and I, any number of years, any number of lifetimes. But ultimately, there comes a Christmas when you fall into the company of thieves. In this case, perhaps a couple of biblical scholars or seminary students who happen to be discussing the original Hebrew and Greek translations of certain key biblical texts. Or you pick up the latest book by the Episcopal Bishop of Newark, John Shelby Spahn. And forgetting that the church's theology of Christmas is like poetry in that it is a way of expressing that which is far beyond explanation. A truth of such surpassing beauty and import as to transcend the capacity of our minds to comprehend it. You realize that it didn't happen in exactly the way the Orthodox Christianity has traditionally said it happened. And you begin to wonder if the church's hype is any different from corporate America's hype. And you begin to wonder if there isn't something more. And as soon as we ask ourselves that question, even once we've reached for the remote control and we've changed the selector to channel 3. And on channel 3, the reality of Christmas is as far beyond religion as channel 2 was beyond things. Here, the reality of Christmas is spiritual. On channel 3, the image of Christmas is that of a brilliant and welcoming white light, which you cannot remember ever having seen before, but which is simultaneously hauntingly familiar to your eyes and to your heart. The music is an undefinable mixture of soothing flute sounds combined with an occasional violin or organ, all overlaid with the polyphonic chorus of male and female voices singing so softly that the words and their meaning seem always just out of reach, right out there on the far edge of your conscious mind. Now on channel 3 there is, for the first time, peace. Peace. And you resolve to remain there forever. And you can, as a matter of fact, spend a very long time on channel 3, many years, any number of lifetimes. But such is the nature of channel 3 that however peaceful it is with an unearthly music and the luminosity of the white light, there nevertheless remains a sense of separateness between you and that light. And one Christmas, you become aware of that separateness. And somehow, in that awareness, you know in your heart that the apparent separateness is an incompleteness. In the instant of that awareness, you've reached for the remote control again and changed the selector to channel 4. Channel 4. And on channel 4, the reality of Christmas is neither of things, nor of religion, nor of that which we call spiritual. Channel 4 is the place of the direct experience of that for which there are no words. Channel 4 is a place of absolute love. Absolute love. On channel 4, there is a single image, and it is like unto the image of the white light on channel 3, yet there is no longer a sense of being separate from the light. The music of channel 4 is not discernible to the human ear, yet there is music. And whereas before on channel 3 there was a tranquility of total peace, here there is added unto that peace the continuous and unbroken consciousness of an absolute awareness of the bliss of your own being as an integral part of the very being of God. Because our language is little interested in such things, there is no single word in English for this state. There is a word in Sanskrit for it. In Sanskrit, what I've just told you about is called the state of Satchidananda. Now, more than that, I cannot tell you at the moment. Is that enough? Metaphor holding? Any questions? Is there a channel 5? Yes, Virginia. Yes, Virginia, there is a channel 5. And on channel 5, the remote control disappears. The channel selector disappears. The television set disappears, and above all, you disappear. On channel 5, only God remains. But, and this is important, in disappearing, you are in no way lessened, or are you diminished. Is there such a thing as the final or ultimate reality? And if so, what is it? Yes, there is an ultimate reality. To speak of it, however, is necessarily to push against the outer limits of our languaging. Let me use the words of another far more spiritually conscious than I, the Kalu Rinpoche. There is a reality, but you do not know this. You are that reality. And when you awaken to that reality, you will see that you are nothing, and being nothing, you are everything. And what does that mean? It means that everything is all right. It means that more than all right, everything is the inevitable outcome of creative principle. It means that regardless of which channel you are tuned to, at any moment, it is an impeccable response to the laws of creation. It's a sign that you are in sync with all the laws of creation. Or as T.S. Eliot put it, it means we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the very first time. It means that our ending is the same as our beginning. Absolute bliss, absolute awareness, absolute peace, our natural state. Satchidananda. Happy New Year, beautiful ones. Enjoy the grace. Enjoy the grace.
Bring on the new year. Let's make it a good year. No hesitations, let the good times roll. Ahead lies changes as life rearranges.